Hey guys and girls, my name is Alan and welcome to today's gameplay commentary. As you can see, I've got an Uncharted 4 multiplayer match for you to enjoy today.
Well, look at you. So eager.
Well, you know me. Specifically, a legacy piece of gameplay. Plunder is meant to be 4v4, but the lobby's still filling up, so it's 3v3. The game's just started without the 4v4, though I don't really understand. Can't be that hard to find an extra couple of players. So that's one of the things that annoys me about. Well, I don't know. It's an ongoing thing with Uncharted 4. They just start the game whenever. And it's not like they have to wait for a lot of people, but it just means that you join late and I don't know how the hell this nade managed to catch me then. I mean, the guy just launches it across the map. I mean, I thought, you know, yeah, it's not that far from where I am, but I don't think that would have killed me. I don't know. Very questionable, that down. Anyway, so rough start, and to be honest, I'd say maybe the first third of the game is so-so. It's not bad, but it's not the most interesting. The second third and the final third, obviously, is where it really picks up, and, well, you'll see how well I do compared to the rest of my teammates and, of course, the enemy team. Right, so there's not too many things I want to talk about today, but I guess the topic just sort of fell into my lap when I was thinking about it. So I went from having nothing to talk about to having something I was going to hold on to for a later date. But I guess I'll talk about it now. But just to start off with, you might have noticed on the screen I've got a new banner. I have had it in place for the last couple of videos now, so you know, I quite like it. It saves me keep mentioning my Twitch stream address, and also I'm sort of jumping on this social media thing a little bit more now. Instagram and Snapchat. I don't really use it too much, but if you want to follow me, if you're interested to see me share some pictures and stuff, then check me out on those. Well, you can see it on the screen, and yeah, follow me if you want to. Don't worry, I don't spam, I don't, you know, post a load of rubbish or anything. To be honest, I don't think I've posted anything since I've signed up for Insta, but in the future, who knows. I do actually have a trip coming up in summer, and I'll talk more about that closer to the date. And also, I don't know if you hang around to the end of the video, but I've also had a new outro song put in. Well, I say put in, I put it in myself. I didn't get someone to do it for me. It's a tune that I'm loving at the moment, and I just think it's got a really nice beat. And I like to have like a beat towards the end of my videos. Like, I don't want to have like, well, I mean, if you watch my videos for the past couple of years, you'll know what sort of thing I'm into. Like, I like a little tune to just go out on. So I think this fits in rather nicely. And as I said, I'm loving this song at the moment. I hope you've obviously been staying to the end of the video and checking it out, but if not, make sure you do it today just to find out what the new outro song is, because it's different. I don't know how often I change them, but it's probably once a year, something like that. So I might use this for the foreseeable future. Right, so before I get down to the actual topic of the video, even though it's kind of obvious what I'm going to be talking about, let me just tell you how I got to that point. So I was thinking about stuff to talk about, and then I realised that the Winter Olympics has started today, so today the Friday. And I was planning to watch the opening ceremony, but it started early in the morning, because I think it's in Korea, isn't it, right now? And is it in Korea? Japan? Korea? Actually, don't remember where it's at now. It's somewhere over in Asia. I think it's Korea. South Korea, I'm tempted to say, Winter Olympics. And they had the opening ceremony this morning. I was planning to watch it, but it was too early for me to, well, I forgot about it, to be honest with you, and I wouldn't have got up any time to watch it anyway. So, a little bit annoyed that I missed that, but I'll probably catch it on iPlayer at some point in the future. So yeah, I was thinking about the Olympics, and then it got me thinking about the topic that I was going to talk about today, and that is the subject of esports, and specifically the rise of esports. Now, over the past couple of years and the past couple of months, there's been a lot more interest in, you know, the subject of esports. You know, people sort of starting to wrap their heads around it, and obviously a lot more games have jumped onto the scene which are potentially, you know, esports ready. So, you know, you've got things like Call of Duty, which has been around for ages. You got things like Counter-Strike, which has been around for ages. But then more recently, well, okay, not so much more recently, but you know, in the last few years, you've got things like Overwatch, you've got Rainbow Six Siege, and these sort of games. I mean, I guess it's kind of hard to explain to someone who doesn't play games, but it's just like any other sport. If you've never seen that sport before, or if you've never watched it or played it, you know, it's gonna be hard to understand for the first time. But that's the same with any sport. So in that respect, there are some sort of similarities. And so, I mean, I wouldn't say I watch a lot of esports. I mean, I watch the finals every now and then, you know, Call of Duty Championships and whatnot. Past couple of years, not so much, because the games have been terrible. But in previous years where the games I was actually interested in, I would have maybe tuned in to watch one or two streams. Not religiously, I'll be honest with you. Just, as I said, the finals, maybe the big matches. And of course, if there's a team that I'm particularly interested in. I've been playing games for quite a few years now, and some of the big teams have also been around for just as long. So you've got Optic, you've got FaZe, I know there's a few others as well, and the rosters have changed and people have moved from one team to another. So yeah, they could be playing under a different name, but you know, effectively it could be the same team or teammates or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I kind of enjoy it. I don't know if I would watch it regularly. I mean, I don't okay, you're probably talking to the wrong person when it comes to watching sports. I don't really follow any teams, you know, religiously, and I don't, you know, follow any sport like every day, every week, every month, whatever. So I'm probably not the right person to talk to you about this sort of thing. But I would imagine that if you're into a game, like really into a game, and you like a certain team, let's just take Optic or FaZe for example, other teams are out there as well, and basically I guess you'd be inclined to follow their progress through tournaments and things like that. So if it came to a point where they introduce a league for these games or something, maybe people would tune in to watch on a regular basis. I don't know, you know, like a weekly matchup sort of thing, like they do with the Premier League or American football or whatever. And so I can see the appeal, and a lot of people in this generation now are growing up with this sort of thing. So I guess I'm at that point where I've experienced both. So you know, obviously I saw esports coming up, and I guess I'm seeing it now grow even more so. So I can sort of see why there's interest, but I can also see why there's a lot of skepticism around it, because I said a lot of the older generation, some of the older people, and not just older people, I guess just some people in general. I don't want to stigmatize the old people, but I guess they don't really understand it because they don't play the games and so on and so forth. So once this generation starts growing up and they see it as a normal thing, they might start watching it more. And so I can see it growing, esports for sure, but to what extent, and will it ever be as popular as mainstream sports? I don't know. I suppose one of the things I guess is kind of contentious is the actual term esports. Now, a friend of mine raised a really good point in that if it's an actual sports game, let's take, you know, FIFA, Madden, NBK, whatever, that's a sport game. So to call it an esport when you're playing it kind of makes sense. But when you're calling Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, Overwatch an esport, and it's got technically nothing to do with sport, I can see why people are confused and why people object to it being called a sport. Because, and again, I guess this is dependent on what your definition of a sport is. I've always grown up being a sport as, you know, football, rugby, you know, you play outside, you play cricket, whatever, tennis. That's a sport. You know, you're doing something physical, you work up a sweat. But then I guess you could apply the same similarities to this. Until we find a better word, we'll just call it esports to continue. When you play as part of a team, you need to communicate just like you would in a normal sport. Sometimes you work up a sweat. Hey, people mock other people for sweating, or, you know, sweating their ass off, or, you know, playing hard, sweating, whatever. So yeah, you can break out a sweat when you play proper competitively. So, you know, there you go, you break out in a sweat. And, you know, mentally, some sports require you to think a lot. So does gaming. Sometimes you have to think even more in gaming than you would in a normal sport. And then also there's the physical side of things. Okay, maybe you're not running 1,000 meters in real life, but cardio definitely gets a workout for sure when you're playing. When I play in a high intense game, my heart is pounding, and I imagine it's okay, maybe not on the same level as someone who's actually running distance, but in terms of cardio workout, it's getting a workout, right? So sweating, cardio, teamwork, these are all things that you can sort of compare to a normal sport. Okay, it's not outdoors, but well, okay, you could play outdoors, but you'd have to cover the screen somehow if you were able to see anything. So, I mean, indoors, outdoors, there are indoors and outdoor sports, so I guess that's not such a big talking point. But I guess the other features, so I guess the only main difference then for me is that it's not very physical. Like, anybody obviously can pick up a controller, anybody can use a mouse and keyboard. How well you use it is another factor, but you don't actually need to work out. You don't need to maintain a certain muscle strength to do these things, right? Well, very little. So in that sort of traditional sense, it doesn't give you a workout as the traditional outdoor sports would. But in terms of the mental, in terms of the I guess some of the top level esports players, again inverted commas, they control their diet, they control their sleeping pattern. Some of them do. Some do it better than others, obviously. So you still need to maintain some sort of level of fitness to take part in these sports. I mean, yeah, okay, there's always that stereotypical overweight gamer or whatever. But if you actually watch most of the esport teams, the majority of them, I'd say a good 75% plus, are in good condition. They look after themselves. They go to the gym on a regular basis. And, you know, they don't look like a stereotypical, like, sit in front of a PC all day long gamer. They don't actually look like that. So I guess, I don't know, I don't want to go too much into it because that's not what I'm here to talk about, but I just think we're in an interesting point now where esports could be on the edge, and it is growing, don't get me wrong, it is growing, but it could be on the edge of literally blowing up. There are so many games now for people to play. Things like YouTube, Twitch, people are tuning in and watching hundreds of hours of videos, and some people don't even watch like mainstream TV anymore. And so if that's the case, maybe they're not even watching mainstream sports anymore. Maybe their sports are esports, again, inverted commas. So I think we're living in an interesting time, and I guess that sort of ties in with why I want to give it a crack before it's too late. I'm not getting any younger, as I said, and if I'm gonna try it, now's the time to try it. So unfortunately, I've got nothing to report on the esports side of things that I'm trying to get into. I did talk about it in a video a couple of weeks back. Now check it out if you want to. And basically, I want to give it a crack, but I haven't really made any progress yet. I do have a week coming off next week, off work, and assuming I can pull myself away from Fortnite for a few hours, I'm going to try my best to try and join a team and maybe even get back into Call of Duty. We'll see. I definitely need to get back on the Call of Duty thing because there was a teaser this morning. I think Treyarch, well, okay, no big surprise, but Treyarch are working on the next Call of Duty game. Surprise, surprise. They haven't talked anything about it, but a couple of months' time there'll be more information. My guess is going to be boots on the ground. It's probably going to be something World War again. I mean, there was a rumor saying Black Ops 4, but I genuinely can't see it being Black Ops 4. But Black Ops 3 was, I didn't really like the whole sci-fi space jumpy game thing, but at the core of it, it was still kind of fun to play. I would have preferred it without the space, jumps and all the other stuff that came with it. But I still put in quite a few hours. Not as many hours as the previous Call of Duties, but I still put in a few hours. So definitely looking forward to seeing what they've got. And as I said, this year I'm going to proper hit it hard and see what I can do. And who knows? If anything else, it'll be just for the experience. Just to say, I gave it a crack. I played in a couple of competitions. I came last, but I had fun doing it. I made some friends. That's the goal. Hopefully, that's the goal. So yeah, I will report once I get some stuff done for my esports career, inverted commas, but yeah, we'll see how we go. But yeah, I just think we're living in an interesting time now where esports potentially is up on the rise, and I don't know, who knows, it could go either way. It could be renamed completely. I think they should rename it. Esports for me doesn't really make too much sense because of what I've said, but at the same time I can see why there are comparisons being drawn between traditional sports and online sports, if you want to call it. That's a terrible name, I know. If you think of something better, let me know in the comment section below. We'll try and get it started. But I think esports as a word needs to change, unless it's actually an esport that you're playing. Right, so video's come to an end. That's all I can talk about for today. Hope you enjoyed the content. As per usual, if you did, drop a like on the video. I really do appreciate it. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, then hit that subscribe button to be notified of new videos. I try and do them weekly, but depends on my schedule, I suppose. And as always, if you've got any thoughts you'd like to share me regarding anything I've talked about today, let me know in the comment section below. But until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, take care, and I will see you later.
And now it's hard to breathe.